very strange. My recording stopped. So I'm now currently in a place called Cemetery Junction in Reading, where I live. And this place is full of I come in, I don't know why, I pressed record on it. I was walking along, but it wasn't recording. I should have probably stopped and checked. But there's some very sort of very interesting place. It's quite spiritual. I can sense it. It feels a bit colder here. There's some graveyards that are quite interesting. Some graves, I should say, not graveyards, not multiple graveyards. So one was at least 200 years old, I looked at. That was an 1800s type grave. It's quite fairly new. 59. Who died November 1905. Well, that must be quite new, the actual marble. It's just lasted. I mean, shame I can't visit a place at night, but it'd be like Fort Knox. But it's really intriguing the way it's laid out. And there's some angels, look at that. There's some other shit in here as well, like, they shouldn't, there's litter pickers and things, so I guess the litter pickers work around here. But then they've been dumping boxes by the looks of it, or there's some type of lock-up they got there. And this angel thing's quite interesting. When I saw it, I wasn't sure it was an angel or not. It's like a vampire, because there's got these little wings on this thing. That'd be interesting, a vampiric grave. Yeah, I mean, these places for healing spiritually are brilliant. I can kind of sense there's so much energy. It's that kind of intimate connection between life and death. They kind of act as portals, I guess. And then I was also thinking of a deeper connection when you're buried, that your body is becoming a part of the earth, and there's that mycelium network. So you're in the Earth Zone blockchain, if you want to look at that. See, wow, just like a wooden one that's all rotted away. So it'll be quite. You usually try not to walk on graves, to walk around the head pieces of them, or come out. As that old phrase goes, I think something's walked on my grave. So I can see the end of it as well. But living in Reading, I've always drove past this area, and I've always sort of, because it forks either way, the roads. And I think the history of it, these actual roads are on, they're on this holy ground. They go over graves. How the history of this come together, I'll have a little look at that. So I want to do some dipping in of some different sort of projects, do some things that are a bit more spiritual, because I've kind of not gone off the path. It's just it's been locked down and other things that have kind of got in the way. But it's also nice when you go to a big place to spread out. I mean, this place is not probably, well, it isn't used regularly, put it that way. Just trying to find out when it died. 1884. So, yeah. Interesting how they road. James House. Types of graves. And I wonder if there's also sections, like these different types of graves. See, they're not too over Christian ethos. I mean, some are, they're crosses and stuff, but, you know, there's not too much here. 1881. She is not dead, but sleepeth. There we go, the eternal spirit, there we go. It seems to go on and on. So maybe there's something else, because there's a section where the walls end, and then there's another driveway from the other side. Because it'd be interesting if this place is locked up at night. There is a way in, and then it just be a case of, you know, if you had the right equipment. Well, yeah, dogs should be allowed in here, apart from if you're disabled. So we can walk around, I guess. Because I tell you what, this place got loads of energy. if you were into qigong and stuff, you come here, do some qigong, you'd be so pumped. It's because as human beings, as we live our lives, I mean, even if you're dead, there's residual energy in your body, and there's also in your bones as well. And it's kind of left a spiritual marking. And maybe for some people, they transition into another dimension, and so some of their body is still there. So the living hell is when you go back to your body if you're dead, and you kind of re-experience things going on in the current. That would be quite a difficult situation. But this place is wonderful. Look at that. I mean, if I was having a real shit time, I'd come here. I wouldn't come here with a takeaway, but you know what I mean? I could sit on a bench somewhere, relax, think, read some of the headstones. Shane doesn't provide a bit more information, but it's always good about that. The third son of the above who departed this life. What's that, 18... Was it 1570? No, it's 1858 and 1850. Okay. Yeah. This place is it's feeling it, and it's also that interconnection between, let's say, death and life, the bridge, and there's sort of nature's moved in as well. Maybe some, features, and this is an old place. I mean, there's been lots of stuff going on in this area for a long time. I mean, there might be some newer graves I'll probably look at. I wonder if they say, died of COVID, or maybe something like that. Fell asleep, that's nice. Passed away in the sleep. And the other one didn't, maybe not. Who passed away? Yeah, but that's the difficult thing. She fell asleep 1955, and her husband died 2001, I should say, better. 2001. Yeah, that's always hard. I wonder if he remarried though. He probably didn't. So I need to get myself, from a MGTOW perspective, crack on with my life. I'll soon be old, and it might be easier to date and pool, but not unless you want to date a family, because that's what you'll have. So maybe it's not always nice to find someone younger. There are younger people, but it depends on the culture. Go back to cultural roots. Some people like older people, some people older men, some people don't. I mean, normally do, only if you've got some sort of status. Yeah, this is real cool. 1841. So at some point, she was the oldest grave, but it's probably not that legible. But there's some interesting ones. I mean, that's like Knight Templar type thing. The cross, it's like more Germanic, that connection. It's a more earth, the cross and the circle, symbolic of earth. See this one, wow. You probably can't even see it, it's so dark. And I can feel these sort of vibes, this would be great. The other thing I wanted to do was get some spirit box out. Oh look at this. It's very strange to have a monk jack feeding in there. I mean, how does it get around in Reading? Does it live in here? So I'll back off so I won't disturb it. That's interesting. I don't want it to run, it'll bolt otherwise. But obviously it's got a good vibe, it's keeping the grass down. That's very, you don't see something like that just turn up. How did it creep in here? It's like a fortress, it's got walls around it. There we go. I mean, mystery, maybe it entered like a portal. There's a doorway somewhere. Basically, the combination of these things is like organ. A dollar sign there. You passed away peacefully away from 1896. Um, grant him the Lord eternal rest. Grant him, Lord, eternal rest, and let him perpetually light shine upon. There's a female's like a wife underneath. Some holy scripture there. Sacred memory. Yeah, it's beautiful. So let's go to the end and round. I mean, there might be another way in and out of this place, but you can imagine that at night. That little spirit box. It's like a quiet place you can go. There's light wildlife here. Well, if you're very respectful. I mean, shame, because you could raise money for things like councils and stuff. Just people do a little investigation or that spiritual thing. I don't know if they're respectful to the dead. I mean, I'm not into people, but are you there and start throwing rocks around? And show me a sign or whatever. Just more like, if I'm here and if you wanted to speak to me, please do, you know. There might be a message to pass on to live it. See where the walls are, so you want to draw the boundary. That would be unusual. See, it feels a little different here. But imagine some of the older graves are there. Look at that grave, it's right next to the wall. If you started growing like runner beans and stuff at the back that wall, you'll be absorbing. That's interesting. Oh, got some divine energy there. And this is probably unmarked right here. It's very sort of very holy. There we go. Love memory. Touch it. But another date, 1868. There you go. It's not really a lot of energy there, but it's as I breathe out and projecting my chi in, and it does come back to you, kind of like I don't know if there's some of the bits, it's just collapsed inwards, collapsed graves. Yeah, I'm not going to stay too long. This might be quick one, but I might have to come back here. Very fascinating. Look at that, it's just like sticks. I wonder if the bodies have come up. You know, I did think in the back of my mind, imagine if I could, there was like an open grave and there was a skull there. So would I take the skull? I would leave it there. It's very disrespectful to take something from somebody without gaining their permission. It's the only thing you do meditate on. And then what would you use it for? Some kind of some sort of divine connection to some spiritual alchemy or something. It could be quite extreme actually, like karate. Fascinating bit of work. There we go, like a military person, Lieutenant Rat. Wow, there you go. 1918. Over. I mean, he fell over, isn't it? In Ryman's time. But yeah, we should show us about these wonderful things. And she's kind of leaning forward. See that? Half the face missing or something. It's got that strange feeling like it's going to step out. It's brilliant though. wonderful, isn't it? I didn't see these at night. Yeah, wonderful. What's this? I mean, the problem with these things about destroying things and doing stuff is they encourage all this sort of odd behaviour. You know, maybe they should ask for the statue to be removed, and some of the statue in these kind of, you know, like the stuff to do with like Black Lives Matter, all this kind of hype around injustice. But what people try and do is actually reconfigure the past to match their narrative, and they must realise it's the narrative of the state. They don't represent your opinion at all. A wireless operator, an air gunner, Royal Air Force. And primarily the two tunnels. This is just wonderful stuff here. And if you're interested in history, this is where you need to be. Because you might find something that actually adds value to something you learn. So that's always very important. Strange, you've got like a balcony. It's weird the way houses are built up around it. Yeah, so it doesn't really go around anymore. There's no alternative way out. That's like a maze. Oh. Something I missed. Sorry, I was aiming it at the ground. I was too caught up looking at things. It's very interesting. Actually, it reminds me of there was a Resident Evil game. They had to sneak through the hedge, and there was like some mutant dogs. It's very interesting. There we go. In service. It's just got, I don't know where it goes actually. What's the purpose of it? What's the shape of it? Oh, I think it's got some of their graves and things there. I can feel something unusual. That's weird, or you can come across, I guess. So they are put into sections. You wouldn't get caught here at night and get stuck. Yeah. Oh. I sense I'm not alone. I sense there's another human in here. Probably said it's a man walking around looking at graves. Yeah, and what's he doing? Well, he's not doing anything, but he's here. And we don't have people in the graveyard. It's strange. So it's like almost sectioned off. There's like graves over there you can't get to. That's really weird. I wonder why that is. Maybe they leave them alone. They've had a long enough time as it is. That's very weird. I've looked at that. Why would you have a section of the graveyard you can't get to? Would I come in too soon? I see. These piles of sticks, what's that all about? I just had wood that probably pulled off. I'll have a look at the I guess if anyone asks, I'm just a historian of sorts. I was looking for the oldest grave. Oh, that would be scary. Imagine if I trod to the side of one of these and fell down the hole. 69, where's that? Oh, it said early one, yeah. God knew the rugged pathway for him was far too steep. So gently closing the tipped eyes, he gave our beloved sleep. There we go. That's really I never thought about putting poetry and stuff when I pass on. Might be something to think about. I mean, I always thought about like having sort of music. What music? I hear a song. I think that's really cool. If I wanted to say something about my life, maybe that's got some lyrics in it. So there's a certain amount of mystery. So yeah, wow. And so I'll wander out now. Won't go too ballistic. So I can spend a lot more time there than I realise. But it certainly is quite interesting. There's also this Highgate cemetery in London. It's supposed to be quite spooky. I mean, here, if you head out somewhere, you basically lock you in. You'd have to stay here overnight. Would that be a weird challenge? You'd probably get somebody called the police. They'd say some weirdo with a torch going around the graveyards at night. But then again, if you positioned yourself in the middle somewhere, it wouldn't be a problem. I think the police have used the end part of the graveyard. They've got like an office, and have used it. Here's look, it goes on forever, doesn't it? It's like when I was in Ukraine wandering around. So they're all in certain night. Sorry, go back to sleep. It's all right. It's bumpy the ground. Usually it's a lot of tree roots, but you think, oh, maybe that was an unmarked grave or stuff. But that one over there is hidden away in the dark. You probably can't see it on this. Birds are confused. What? It's human here. I live in one. There we go. Took this one off the bucket list. It's kind of a irony there. Pick the bucket and bucket. So yeah, this is kind of the road I'll be always whizzing down. I'll have to look into the history of the cemetery. I mean, there is a church further down, so I imagine it was a much bigger area, and then they diced it up. I wonder if they've moved any of the graves. I wonder what rules they've got. Yeah. What would you say if you've got to stop? What are you doing here? I'd say, well, I'm a bit of a goth. I like history, and I like the paranormal and spiritual stuff. So I decided to have a walk around. Is that okay? And now, what the F are you doing here? You know, you'll get these. Yeah, that's a good advice. It's got Ada written on it. Buy some Ada. I haven't got any Cardano. This is cryptocurrency I'm talking about now. I did come across another hack that I'm going to try out, and that's when you mix liquidity pools together. So if you added, I guess I'm going to another subject, but if you added a currency, then you paired it with another currency and you just held it, so you can suddenly boost. You'll be added to the liquidity pool even though it's not staked anywhere. So whether that's true or not, I'll find out. Anyway, that'll be another video. It's completely different. It's nice. It's weird. What's that symbol? The symbols and graves are quite interesting. Leaves or something, which pretty much a house. 1908. Here we go. It's lovely. What they need is some flowers here. That's what I need to do. Do you know what I should do? Is bring in some of my datura and plant them in graves. You can imagine it. People are going and start having these weird experiences. Like, oh my god, I was upset, and I thought I'd roll a joint or something, and I decided to use this leaf I found on his grave, and it turned out to give me some weird experience. Or poppies would be nice, actually. Poppies would be really nice here. I've got some California ones, but it's not warm enough in the UK. I can sort of grew them indoors for a bit, and they just sort of died, so it's a bit arid for them. It's just interesting, look, the way town has grown up around. Imagine just living there. It's like your house. You're like a toilet, bedroom, something else, and then in the evening, just lock the gate, I guess, on your own, and then just this will be like your back garden. So it's got space. It's like some parking or something. Oh, wow. You get the okay. The green team are in here. It's open as well. We've got anything in there. What's that? There's something about the gravestones. 1914, there's older ones than that. Double badged headstone of the Lewitton's cousins. Okay, William was the first soldier buried in the Great War. He lost his life during training. During training, James died of his wounds. What on earth training did he go through? That's even worse, isn't it? But yeah, you get an idea of it. Quite an interesting place. It's probably a public toilet or something. It's interesting. It's not really community. I think they could definitely do a bit of, like say some flowers in there and stuff and plants. Anyway, it's a big sign off. Have a great one and speak to you soon. Bye. Look at that. It's the junction.